Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Cold and Fluffy. We're here with a slightly different screen. This week I'm just going to go over last week's games and then predict the games for next week. If you watched the previous video, I gave each of these teams a score. I'm going to kind of keep this going with a bit of a tier list, which I'll slightly update each week up until playoffs. I won't put the teams in quite yet. We'll go over the games, then put them in as we go. So without further ado, let's hop into week 1. I managed to predict half of these correct. Don't feel too bad about that. That's, I believe, slightly above average, given there's 3 possible outcomes for each game. You could argue it's average. I don't think that makes sense, though. So let's, Harbinger versus Barrel. This was a kind of an interesting game to me because I think literally everyone predicted that, or everyone that did make official predictions, official public predictions, said that Harbinger would 2-0 this game, and in reality it was Barrel that came home with the win with a 2-0. So let's take a look at the games. Let's take a look at the drafts. Right off the bat, I'm seeing an 11-0 We Lickum Wraith King, which is very impressive. Let's look at the graph here. It seems the game was fairly even right up until the end here. Barrel didn't lose like any T2s, which means they probably weren't in much danger. But man, it looks like it was just real back and forth, and right at the end, Barrel's team ran it down mid. I'm assuming they probably lost a fight outside their base on Harb's team, and then bought back and got wiped, or something along those lines. Although they didn't call GG because the Ancients and the T4s are destroyed. Or they may have called GG, but it would have been when the Ancient was getting hit. If someone calls GG early, you'll see the T4s are still up, even though the Ancient's down. So that didn't happen, which implies that it was either close or Harb just didn't care to call GG, which some teams do. We have let's look at a quick look at the draft here, since that's kind of the main thing we can focus on. Unless I've watched the games. If I've watched the games, I'll go into a little more detail on that. But that's probably not going to happen a lot, because I don't think people are going to reschedule much in this league. So anyway, we have a Shaman first pick, which seems fairly sensible. The Mappo, Nature's Prophet gets first banned. Ricky also first banned, which is fair. OD Jakiro, I think these are all fair bans. Can't really complain too much. First pick Shaman's good. The Ogre, a little weird, but I understand why they do it. I believe in our scrim against this guy. We also played against his Ogre, and it was pretty alright. Seems very comfortable in the hero. Can't complain. Early Viper pick is a little odd, but I believe this was planned. A little bird told me that they practiced some 1v1s with Bodmass, and convinced them that they could just first pick Viper in order to deal with Harb's lane, which seems to have worked pretty well. A draw in the Viper lane against Harb, despite there being a bit of an MMR disadvantage here, especially since Bodmass is primarily a support player. Anyway, we follow that up with a Juggernaut. Fairly safe carry. They counter or ban out some Juggernaut counters. See a variety of mid bans. The Clink's pretty important if you're going to lock in the Viper like that. Puck and DP. I am not entirely sure why, but they seem fair, I guess. I don't know how Puck does versus Viper, but the hero is very strong overall, so can't blame him for that one. We then see a Rubik pickup, which is whatever. I think it's meant to be pretty good against Viper because of how easily you can steal the ultimate ability, as well as the W. Either spell's good. There's no like bad spell you can take. Probably the same with Shaman. Shackles are crazy easy to steal. The other two, if you happen to get them, also quite good. So not much complaints there. We see an AA pick by Barrel, which is kind of strange to me. Mostly because they ran it pause 4. I don't know. I'm a really big fan of like the strength stunny offlaner or offlane supports, pause 4s. Shaman can kind of fill that role as well, but A4 seems weird. That seems like a hero you really don't want to run outside of P5, but it ends up working out because we get an Axe pick followed by Wraith King and a Mars, then we get the Morph pick, and the Morph is the hero that really suffers against AA. It's surprising that Wraith King went so late to me almost. Maybe not too surprising because they just had other things to ban, but this hero is definitely very popular. I think he's fallen a bit out of love in the higher ranked scene, like pro games and high ranked pubs, but the hero is still quite good this patch, especially in a league like this. That's a bit lower MMR, a bit more MMR varied. I like the hero a lot personally, at least. So surprised to see it go late like that. But at the same time, I guess they just had better things to ban. So yeah, that's that. I don't know. I don't like the morph pick at all. It seems really weird into the AA. There's also just a ton of lockdown for it. Shaman is a massive bitch. If Mars ever gets you on the wall, that's just perfect setup for the AA ulti. Harb needs to do a lot of work on this team to win. And he's not going to be able to do that if he's picking Morph into AA, but it is, I guess, worth noting that Harb is not going to be playing mid from now on out, so he's proclaimed. So maybe this won't matter so much, but overall, not a huge fan of the Harbinger draft. The early picks, I think, were fine, but just kind of fell off after that, in my opinion. The Morph pick's just shitty. If you're going to take second pick, you need to make good use of that last pick. Um, Like it's your answer to their entire draft. You can't just pick a hero that's actively bad against their draft with last pick, because Mappo's gonna get countered. They pick. I don't even think Wraithing's that good into Axe, but it clearly worked in this game. So it's literally like kind of all on Harb when they do this. Moving on. Game 2! Another late pick Wraithing. This time Hardbringer has first pick. I assume that these teams are choosing second pick because the first pick team is ending up on Radiant, and I don't think anyone's taking Dire. I don't even really know what the reasoning for taking Dire is. I think like the only advantage is mid farm. If you have like a farming mid, from what I've heard. So I'm gonna assume both teams were focusing on second pick here. This game looks a little more one-sided. It's not really so much of a jump at the end as a steady decline. We also see an FF before T4s go down. Yeah, even for a while, and then Barrel's team just gets online. I think this is like a pretty normal game of Dota. This is what a normal game of Dota will look like. No one's really snowballing, but once people get their items, fights begin happening and one team wins. Although it is rather short. I should say, I guess the length of the game isn't that normal. 28 minutes is very short. So anyway, we open up the game with a Coddle pick, which is a little odd in my opinion, but is what it is. Shaman, once again, good hero. Ogre, I understand why they pick it. Puck, great hero. Bodmas actually went ham this game as well, which is a really good sign for Barrel's team. I think part of the reason myself and probably other people doubted this team a bit is, as I previously mentioned, Bodmas is primarily a support player, and seeing Barrel's just 3 support lineup with no mids made it look like mid would be a weakness, but I mean, this is looking pretty good. He drew lane both games against Harbinger, which is, I think, already a good sign, but the fact he went completely ham in the second game is even better. A really good sign for Barrel's team, I think. So anyway, that's the early Puck pick. We see some Puck counters banned. I don't entirely know why the Troll's banned. That may be a counter. I guess, is the root annoying? You can kind of just E out of the root, right? Whatever. They banned that for whatever reason. I'm sure they had a good reason. TA obviously makes perfect sense against the Puck. The other side, we're just seeing. What am I looking at? They don't like these heroes. I guess it's like the same hero almost. So I guess they just don't like that one. Oh, and they changed the Viper ban as well, which makes sense after getting first pick Vipered in game 1. So then we see Spirit Breaker. Big fan of this hero. I'm not crazy about Shaman 5. I think it's fine though. Actually, I don't mind. I take it back. I don't care. It's fine either way. But I'm a big fan of Spirit Breaker. Love Spirit Breaker. Bristle pick with Viper out of the pool. We see an immediate counter with the Legion Commander. I think that's a good adjustment there. We see a Kunkka out of Harb. Don't entirely understand that one. When you're against a Spirit Breaker, you do want to pick a hero that can deal with the charges, and I think Kunkka fits that role. But I mean, they could have picked like a Death Prophet. The thing with the Kunkka is that you don't ever kill Puck. Kunkka into heroes that don't like just to completely ignore his X marks level 6 combo, I think is always kind of whack. I guess it's pretty hard to dodge Tidebringer on Puck. That's like a big mind game. You're not really going to be able to consistently phase shift dodge it. Um, there's going to be some pump fakes and such. So maybe that's just where it works. Puck's armor, I think, is dog. It's like maybe less than 1 armor starting, so maybe the hope is just to beat him down with Tidebringers. Either way, not crazy about that pick. They're already countered on the off lanes. This is just kind of 2 mediocre cores in my opinion. They are both fairly tanky, I guess, which makes them good against the burst, but meh. Then we see a Spectre pick. I hate this hero. This hero is garbage. I think even in a lower MR league like this hero is just not going to see a lot of success. It takes way too long to get online. We see then a last pick Wraith King. Wraith King's just like a better Spectre, man. I don't know. You can do the Radiance build without griefing yourself because your hero's actually useful. And then you just get online quicker. You're honestly, like, is Spectre even scary even when she gets items? I'm not even sure she is anymore. Like, I don't know. I hate this hero. And then we have a last pick Wraith King. Once again, a little surprised it's not banned, given how good this hero is. But I understand the Slark AM bans, I guess. Slark obviously great against these tanky heroes, especially if they're already planning on picking a Spectre. Looks like our boy Wee plays it as well. AM fair, I guess. AM's meant to lane pretty well into Bristle because of the mana burn. I'm not sure how true that is with a Bristle Coddle lane, but probably fine. It's definitely good against Spectre if they were planning to pick Spectre. So yeah, but this game, I don't know. I don't like the Harb draft very much again either. I don't think the barrel draft is amazing. Like I think I had more hope in the. I liked their last draft a little bit better, I guess, but whatever. It looks like they crushed them. Spectre never got online. Doesn't look like Harb did much. Bristle won their lane, but then went 4 and 6. Oh, that's an insanely early Eternal Shroud. I mean, the Wraith King Shaman combo does sound pretty terrible against Bristle, but this is like crazy early, right? What's the laning stage look like? Is the 11 minutes? That's before the Dota buff laning phase counter is over. Yeah, it's not that crazy. I guess he did like hard rush it. See a slight lead from Dire out of lanes. Looks like Wraith King had a very good time in lane. Spectre and LC did just okay. Spectre was getting a lot of kills though. Looks like Spectre was probably rotating around, double downing on the side lanes. Like this says it's a lost lane top, but that's only because Coddle is farmed. Oh god, what have I done? Like if you compare the core farm in this lane, it's like Wraith King's perfectly happy. He probably could have more farm, not gonna lie. But like he's fine. He's not a very good hero under Bristle and he's doing fine. Dodobuff has only marked this as a 1 lane for Radiant because Caudle has like 1,000 something gold on Shaman, which is like whatever, I don't care. So yeah, I don't know. They did well out of lanes, they had good heroes. Looks like Bald Mouse is going around doing a lot of work, so cool, cool. Barrel team, I think probably quite a lot better than I originally anticipated, so shout out, I guess. Maniac versus Cats, another incorrect prediction from me. Let's take a look at what happened here. I believe everyone else predicted that Cats would lose, but I had faith. Misplaced faith, but still. Alright. Looks like Reedy, I believe, really went off both games. I have looked at these beforehand. I haven't gone in completely blind. Oz also having a great game here. Is this Stompy? Yes, this is really Stompy. They have like a small lead for the entire early game and then just blow up. Like a slight throw here where they all die. That's it. Other than that, they're just going off. DP like doesn't die after this point. Oz dies quite a bit. Is any of these Aegis? One of them's Aegis. The last one's Aegis. It actually is just straight up dying, which is not ideal, but happens, I guess. On to the draft. Shaman, good pick. Puck, good pick. Bans, do I care? Bans? Yeah, whatever. These are fine. Cats ban, OD ban, Scott Maniac ban. Beastmaster. Is Beastmaster hero now? My team was talking about Beastmaster too, I think. Wait, was it my team or was it someone else? Maybe it's the team I stood in for. Someone was talking about Beastmaster. Is this a hero? Why? Why is it a hero? Does anyone know, or are people just like blindly copying? I don't know. Whatever. Beastmaster ban. Fine, I guess. Do they have? It's not. They don't even have a player, right? No, they don't. But anyway, Shaman's good, Puck's good, Nyx is fine. I think the hero's been like nerfed twice in a row now, but he's good against Puck, so whatever, go at it. Still fine hero. We have a Shaker pickup, which is also, I think, hero just got nerfed, but I think it's still fine. It's especially fine against Shaman because it's pretty hard to get the shackles off if Shaker hasn't committed any spells yet. Bans, just a bunch of whatever. The Lifestealer ban is confusing. Is there pause one a Lifestealer player, Mr. Phantom? Yeah, he is. Whatever, fine. PA Ursa looks good to me. Um, I'm assuming these are like researched bans. The early Slark ban is confusing. This is the Smurf he's got here. But whatever. I understand a Centaur ban if their best player's their offlaner. That hero can absolutely just 1v5 games if they get a good start. So then we see a Grimstroke, fine. Right side likes it, so it's probably good. Monkey King pickup. It's fine by me, I think. The fact that if Puck like uses her ult on you, you just slap down your own ulti, and voila, you're happy. Works pretty well. I think Oz has been playing this hero too. It's the second most played on his Smurf, which I think is more carry games than his main. Played a couple after at least. 11 overall. I guess he's feeling happy with it. He's winning that much. Small sample size, but still. Can't be bothered to open his main. Dota buff. Then we get a Ricky and a Tide. Kind of weird. I would have thought Ricky Smoke Cloud would be pretty good against Tide. There's not many heroes you want to play into Ricky. I just wouldn't think Tide would be one of them. But that's fine, I guess. Can't really ever complain too much about a Tide, especially in combination with the Monkey and the Shaman. That's just a lot of shit to ravage people in. Just get bonked by monkeys and serpents. We see the Ricky also is like I don't know about the Ricky to be honest. Um, if you ever stand near Monkey, you're just gonna get whacked. Like you can never man up on Monkey, but you never really want to man up on anyone as Ricky. You just want to jump around in your tricks of the trade. I don't know. If you accidentally end up in the, I guess you can jump out of the Monkey King ult. You really just can't touch the Monkey King ult though. If the Monkey King ult is going, you're just kind of screwed. The Shaman's maybe kind of food. Maybe you can feed off the Shaman a bit. Nyx, you shouldn't really be able to. Um, why are they last picking an off lane at all? Actually, it seems a little odd to me. I I mean, I guess you can't really last pick your pause one, and you first picked your mid. Oh, because they have a stand in this game. Oh, and this stand in looked like trash, I think. Like, I see Archon with 400 games. Is this a Smurf? Doesn't really look like a Smurf. That's a lot of games for a Smurf. So it's probably a real player. Dude, they don't even play Dota. I guess they just play other things. I don't know. They looks like they go off a lot, I guess. I mean, hey, 10 KD on Puck, I understand why they first picked it, but I'm always wary with players that have very few games in Archon rank. Because that just almost always means that their rank just hasn't settled yet. Like, I guess this guy's probably gonna climb, but like your game knowledge is gonna be so low at 400 games. It's just kind of whack. I think like the Weeb Slayer guy they replaced had a lot more games than this. I don't know. It's kind of a weird stand-in, in my opinion. I mean, it's not weird. Like, it makes sense. They're the same rank and whatever, and I think they all know each other, but it looks like a downgrade, I guess is what I'm really trying to say. Anyway, so they're last picking their off lane, which is a little weird given that's their, like, lowest MMR player, but gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. They don't want to hold on to the pause one pick for too long, because just everything's getting banned. There's, like, already, including the Monkey King, 6 pause ones out of the pool. Go to second phase, there's gonna be 8 pause ones out of the pool. You just don't want to deal with that crap. So anyway, we see the Tide pick, which is whatever. We see a DP pick, which I think is pretty good. The amount of push they have right now is insane. The amount of D push on Dire is kind of meh. They have a lot of long range spells, I guess, Grim, Puck, or Shaker, but they can't. I don't know. Once Radiant gets on the high ground with Monkey King ult, it's really hard to engage into that. It's gonna be like impossible to take out the Shaman wards. The DB can just stand a little further back with the exorcism. Your tower is just going to go down. The team fight's insane. Team fight's always good in these lower MMR leagues. Like, even higher than this, even like 4K average leagues, I think team fight is just always OP. Because like fast timings and trying to like abuse long cooldowns is just a pretty difficult skill to master, especially with a pickup team, which these draft leagues basically are. So, and we last pick a brew. I don't really get the point of that. I think it's a comfort hero. It's fine. I guess I can't really think of anything better off the top of my head. I think Sir Fireball said this is a bit of a comfort hero for him. Like I guess you need team fight. Who are you putting in the air? Like Tide maybe? You put Tide in the air if you can. Assuming he just doesn't insta-blink Ravage, which is what he's gonna do. Putting Monkey in the air is kind of whatever. If he either has his ult down or he doesn't. I don't know. Not really. DP definitely doesn't care. She wants to be in the air. The hero rushes the Yules. As long as the ult's off, she doesn't care at all. I know. I think like 90% of the time you pick Brew for the blue panda, right? Like either the purge thing or the air, putting people in the air. I think I could be totally wrong on that. I think unless the hero's strong, you don't normally like YOLO pick it. You normally pick it for that blue panda. But meh. I guess it gives them some tower push. Like their tower push is horrifically bad. Like Puck Ricky and these supports do nothing to towers. At least the Earth Panda can push. Maybe that was the idea. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like a significantly better draft out of Maniac's team, in my opinion. Yeah, that's just what it is. Uh, like I wouldn't feel very comfortable going in with this Tricore. Like you have to like destroy the early game. Like Puck and Ricky have to go completely off. You have to do this without ever losing a team fight against this massive team fight comp. And then you have to like early high ground with Brewmaster. It just seems way too hard to pull off. I don't like it. I'm not surprised they lost this one. Game 2, I think Weep Slayer came back for game 2, so at least that's something. Yeah, this guy has way more games. They pick him a Viper. Alright, we'll get to that in a second. Grim. God, my eyes like killing me. We see a Grim Rubik pickup, which I guess is fine. A lot of lockdown, a lot of control. Both backline heroes, but that's fine, I think. Lich Jug. We see the Jug on the 8th slot with the immediate ban the counters. Play, which is, shows good drafting, I think, there. Whenever anyone does this with second pick. And then we see a bunch of offlane bans from Cat's team, probably just in response to Nomad like existing. Lena pickup. That's just a Maniac hero. They banned the Nyx, so they had no other option. The man only plays like 3 heroes. Like I don't even. It doesn't look like there's nothing here that says this is a good Lena game to me. Like you've only seen 2 heroes, but I guess you got to pick something, and YOLO, the hero the man can play, makes enough sense, I guess. Slardar, I really hate the Slardar pick, by the way. When I initially looked at this series, like the main thing on my mind was how much I hated this Slardar pick. Also, God, I feel like I'm talking really fast. I'll slow down here for a second and just explain why I dislike this so much. I think in leagues like this, first of all, in leagues like this with this big MR variation, there's like certain heroes you can pick for certain players. I think like for your high MR players, you really want to pick heroes with like high skill ceilings. Not necessarily skill, but high impact ceilings. Let's say, yeah, it's not really a skill thing. Like you want your higher MR players to have as much impact as possible, and you also want your lower MR players to have as much impact as possible. And for the higher MR players, that means picking heroes that have the potential to have like a lot of impact. Even if they have the potential to have very little impact, as long as they have the potential to have a lot of impact if you play it well, and you can abuse the hero's strengths, that's good. And then I think for your lower MR players, you want to make sure that there's like a very low baseline of impact. Like even if things go wrong, like even if you get dunked on in lane because the opponent's just higher MR than you, like as long as you can still have good impact, doesn't matter. And in my opinion, and because like that's just fact what I just said. I won't argue with anyone on that. I just think that's true. But my subjective take is that I think Slardar is a hero that if things go wrong, you just don't do anything. Like this hero doesn't work if you have a bad start, and that makes it a really bad hero to pick like your Herald player or Guardian, Herald. Well, basically Guardian. He's almost there. Especially because he had no games on it, right? Like to some degree, there's some heroes that can go either way, and if someone's comfortable on it, then you can pick it for him. But Sir Fireball had never played Slardar before, and on top of that, this lane blows. Like I'm sure there's no way Slardar can win this lane. Like like how much outplay would have to happen to win this lane as a Slardar? I can't see it personally. Like this looks terrible. I don't understand why they didn't just pick him like a Sand King or something. Like Sand King's a classic hero that, like, if you want a hero that runs around with a low cooldown stun and fights with Blink Dagger, Sand King's like just great for that. And on top of that, he can stun away from the Jug spin combos, so you don't just die, right? Like I don't, I'm so baffled by this Slardar pick. It's so weird. Like it's a hero that absolutely backfires if your lane goes bad. You have a low more player on it, picking it into a bad lane, and the dude's never even played the hero before. Like this alone, like almost makes me feel like they've lost the draft already. Um, and then, well, Maniac tries to throw it back a bit with this Bristle pick. This is also super weird to me. This hero seems like a bizarre combination with Lena. Viper's still in the pool, and they just immediately pick it. Nomad dies 11 times on Bristleback as the highest summoner player on his team, the second highest summoner player in the game. Man built a pipe, which is always just a sign of defeat. Like, I don't know, dude. This is some sad shit, but anyway. We see a couple more carry bans aimed at Phantom. He ends up taking a Troll, which is whatever. It's probably just fine in lane against the Bristle, is the main reason I think they picked this one. MK probably would have been better, but it was banned. I understand, of course, why they picked the Viper first. I think maybe ideally, if if Viper wasn't in the pool, you just pick the best carry versus Bristle. But if Viper's there, you got to take it. He also could have taken a Slark. Slark would have been much better in my opinion, but it's possible Phantom just doesn't play it. And then they round out the Dire Draft with an Ember Spirit, which I think fills in a lot of gaps for them. Ember's just a nice general hero. Goes, you can farm, you can fight, you can kind of do whatever. You scale okay. You're very strong early game. I think Reedy plays it a lot, which also helps. Reedy once again just going off. I think anything negative I had to say about Maniac's team has been largely remedied by Reedy playing so well. Like this guy's owning both games. He was owning his pubs as well. So yeah, this game kind of even at first, and then it spirals out of control. Pretty like I said, this is like the normal Dota draft or no normal Dota game chart. This one's like a normal length too, 43 minutes, very average. You usually don't see like a crazy lead early game, but eventually items come on, heroes come online, and it just begins going very hard in one direction. So yeah, that's that. I think I I really don't love the drafts this week from Cats. I don't think like going purely off the Dota buff, especially when Weeb Slayer showed up, it looks like they're playing okay. Like these item timings are not too bad, I think, and they're not good either. But then Weeb Slayer's doing fine. Survival didn't even have a chance with the hero they picked him. He played fine in the scrim we did, in my opinion. I got to stand in for Platinum, and it was like a really stupid scrim because there was 3 stand-ins, 2 of which were me and Harb. But I think Survival did fine on a different hero, which I guess I'll keep secret just in case they don't want me to say. I just don't. Why did they pick him Slardar, man? That's so weird. Yeah, whatever. Cats is like the most assists in the game. It looks like they played fine, but the draft's just kind of whack, I guess. I think I don't know who's drafting on this team. If it's Maniac or Nomad. Maniac I know has experience drafting, even if it's kind of weird. And if it is Maniac drafting, I think his experience is showing. These drafts look very solid, very tight. So big fan. Oh, I meant to be putting people in tier lists as I did this. I guess I'll do that real quick. We'll start for the Harb and the Barrel teams. Um, Not everyone had a picture on Dota Buff, so for some people I had to add pictures. I think Barrel is one of them, right? Because Barrel is the boss team. I'll reopen that Dota Buff real quick. Boss DOS, yeah, that was it. So he's my boss baby here. Okay, so the Barrel team is better than expected. I originally put them as a C. They look like they played quite well. Bodmas did quite well. I'll give them a B for now. Harb's team was a mess. I don't know, dude. It's like Harb had a rough game, both games, then they kind of lost. They're gonna completely swap up their roles, but I don't even think the barrel team is great. I just think they played pretty well. And so I think Harb losing so hard to them is just not a great sign. So Harbinger, I think, is going to go in C for now. Then we had the games we just looked at, which is Grief or Madness versus Cats. Grief or Madness, I think, was like really solid with how well Reedy was playing and the drafts. I've added an extra tier. Like I was really only using A through C the first time. So I might bump some people up because I'm gonna inevitably put some people in S that were originally A's. So I think I'll actually give it to Maniac. I'll put him in A. I still have a weirdly high amount of belief for this Cats team, despite the fact that I played with their team and it was really a unique experience. But I mostly blame that on Harb. So I think if that team plays together, this is their picture by the way. I'm gonna disband whatever their name is. I swear I'm going to disband. I think this conveys the correct emotion. Yeah, that scrim was kind of weird, but I don't know. I think if this team plays together and they get their drafts and swords, they'll be fine. I think Cats and Fireball are fine, and they're the ones that like bring down the MMR average. Obviously, didn't get to play with Platinum or Reap Slayer because we were standing in for them, but and Phantom's obviously still quite good. But yeah, I think if they just play together, they'll be fine. All right, moving on. Cryptic versus Luth, the cursed games. Uh, so game one was fairly normal. Well, I say normal. It did still have scrum in it. They first pick Scrub Axe. I don't think he actually jungled. His item timings are way too late for that. What do lanes say? How many last hits does he have? I think this was a pause 4 Axe. Yeah, he did not jungle. This is not enough last hits for jungle. He's also 2-0 and 5, which is impressive. When does he first die, actually? Doesn't die until 14 minutes. So yeah, this is the 4 Axe. Scrub loves doing this. He plays this shit all the time. Some Visage. Just like briefly looking over, and then I'll go to the draft. Cryptic had an okay game, but he lost lane. All right, let's take a look. We start off with a Witch Doctor pick. A little surprising that they didn't take Oracle, given that Woe, sorry, adores that hero, but whatever. Witch Doctor's a good pick. I like it. We of course have the scrub bands on one side. Their Spirit ban. Is this a meme? Do they actually play? Oh yeah, that's right. The dude plays their Spirit. So yeah, okay. And then Alk ban for whatever reason. Maybe because they have like this pick. I think this is like where people are picking Alk. Is this second pick, the second pick of the second pick team? If that makes sense. Whatever. Anyway, so we see Witch Doctor, we see Lich, whatever, both good supports. I think Witch Doctor especially is quite nice. We see an Axe pickup, which is just Scrub being himself. We see the Enigma, which is a little surprising. Maybe not, because this is like one of the only pause 3s Yolk plays, right? Yeah, okay, so this is just the Axe and the Enigma, I think, are purely just comfort picks. And then they're able to ban the Silencer right after, which is to their advantage. The Peel ban, I think that's just targeted at Luth, because it doesn't really... I remember Luth used to play a lot of PL in LD2L. Apparently not in, like, pubs. But yeah, not even that much, actually. Whatever, the ban of PL, I don't quite get why. Like Enigma, I think it's meant to be fighting against the hero, right? You just black hole the whole lot of them, and eventually it'll die. The Void Spirit ban's understandable when you're against Battle God. Ursa ban for the Axe, Shaker ban because it's a good hero, Rubik ban because it's a good hero. There's a very good 4-player on the opposing team. It's actually 2 very good 4-players on the opposing team, but one of them's playing Enigma. And we see a Tusk pickup, which I guess is like half his hero pool is banned, so he just goes for the Tusk. It's fairly understandable. That lane looks kind of annoying too. Enigma Tusk, if you get the Tusk on top of you. Get sharded, get the stunny thing, get a bunch of Eidolons hitting you. They don't proc Tusk's E. At least I'm pretty sure they don't proc Tusk's E, but It's still obnoxious. It's also safe from Axe. They may be assuming it was an Axe off lane. Maybe not. I think Cryptic is aware of Scrub and his tendencies, but who knows? Play it safe, I guess. Then we see the Wraithing pickup. Great hero versus Enigma, just generically a good hero overall. I probably would have banned this instead of PL if I was them, but whatever. Monkey King, followed by a Viper. The Monkey King, I assume, is just a generic pick because it's a generically good hero. They may have also been thinking that it's potentially good against Axe. And then they pick a Viper just to shit on it in lane, I assume is the main point there. And it seems like it worked, because Fishay, at least according to Dotabuff, does win this lane. And I mean, we just looked at the lanes and Scrub had like 7 kill participation, so they probably did destroy this monkey. Then we see a Visage pick and a Death Prophet pick. Two support players trying to play small brain heroes. Seems fair to me. Battle God somehow won this lane. That doesn't seem like it should ever happen, but I mean, it's Cryptic, so it's gonna happen. Why is there a Divine Rapier? Probably best not to ask. Looks like there's a bit of back and forth. There's a lot of Wraithing deaths. These cannot all be reincarnation. It's a real death. Did they give Wraithing an Aegis? Come on. I guess, God, they're so they have like no Aegis carriers. I'd still probably give it to Viper, but whatever. Double death, double death. Every time he reincarnates, except for this time, he dies. He never actually like reincarnates and just lives. So it's like clearly somewhat back and forth, but Radiant is slowly gaining a lead and they eventually bring it home. They only lose one T2 tower on Radiant as well, which is usually a good sign. Probably just a very messy, continuous high ground push where they slowly take all the racks, but have to like die on a bunch of heroes to pull it off. Maybe they don't even have to, maybe it's just because they're bad, but either way. Yeah, that looks interesting. I don't really know what to say about these drafts. They're both like absolutely insane. Um, I guess that they're both like okay. Like I can't hate on either of them. They kind of have a mix of like pretty cool, unique heroes that players play. They have some basic heroes. They have some very meta heroes. I don't know. They look fine. Monkey getting Vipered is always unfortunate, but I don't know. There's not a whole lot you can do about that one unless you just want to start banning Viper every game. Because I don't think Fishay. You would never even guess this guy plays Viper, right? Wait, where is the Viper game? Oh, there it is. Where how much Viper he's actually played? Is that like his first game? It's not his unplayed. Viper. Here we go. Last game, March last year. Yeah, you would never guess. Looks like they super YOLO picked it for him. Alright, game 2. This is the really terrible one. Oh, good. This lasted an hour and 21 minutes, much like this video will. It was somewhat back and forth, but it looks a lot like the last game, where Luth's team is in like a very swingy lead for most of the game, but then it just keeps on going, and eventually Radiant comes back. I did actually watch the end of this game because of how long it was. I was able to watch actually quite a large amount of it. I think my games were rather short because I think I came in like pretty early, like at 30 minutes, and I just kept watching as it all fell apart. Luth only had one death when I first started watching, so where does he die the second time? Here? This is his first death, right? Yeah, it's a real death. Okay, so I came in like 20 to 30 minutes. I came in quite early. I didn't fully pay attention, but I saw a lot of it. We see a first pick Alchemist. I think this was just Scrub being Scrub and saying pick me Alchemist. It's a little whack. With how long this game went on, you'd think it would have been good, but didn't really ever come online and do anything useful other than just handing out ags. We get a Lion pickup for Yolk with the dude going off lane this time. Oracle pick for Woe, just a classic Woe hero. And then the Mars. Mars pretty good. They ban out the Jug immediately after, which is one of the better lane counters, I think. And maybe just one of the better game counters. Ursa ban again, Shaker ban, A ban, I guess because they have Alk and Oracle. A lot of healing. We see Grimstroke pick up, pretty generic, works well with the Lion. And then we get we get Sand King, sorry. Um, it's a bit of a blind pick, but you have to pick a core blind, I guess. I feel like it almost have made more sense to pick the carry here, but yeah, whatever. Sand King's a fine hero, can't complain. I really like that it's just a generic pickup. The man went like whatever this item is, which is a mistake, but I guess he's super rich and just got bored. I don't know. I think maybe it should have been a Hex or a Shivas. I don't care that Battle God's going one. At least a Hex, right? This is such a weird item. This can't be good. I wonder if they meme too hard. I wonder if that's part of the reason this game went so long. This is whack. Whatever, we'll continue. We see a Wraith King pickup, then we see a PL, which is a pretty good Wraith King counter. This isn't even like a great Wraith King lane, is it? I mean, I guess they didn't really know what this Alk was doing, so maybe they just didn't know what to do and just wanted to pick a generic carry. Wraith is pretty good for that, especially with Jug out the pool. Maybe they should just pick Jug here, honestly. I think that would have been better than the Mars. Is it because they're working with such small offlane hero pools that they just kind of had to pick a hero that worked? Interesting how they're playing safe lane now. Maybe that's why. I mean, Mars is okay, but I wonder if Jug would have been better. Either way. The PL pick was really nice. Luth was like owning the early game. Like they were pushing high ground super early on Dire, and Luth was like 10-1. It's like, man, this looks great. And then I looked away for a bit and came back, and he was like 12-4. It's like, God, what happened? He also built a Lincoln's, which can't be right. Like, surely you never build this item. Between the Lincoln's and the Kai and Sange, I'm having some thoughts. Why Scotty over Hart maybe as well? Hart's a pretty dead item. They have some very good Scotty targets with the Lesh and the Wraith King. But then we see a Phoenix pick and a Lesh pick. The Phoenix looks fine in theory. Like, I'm pretty sure Battle God plays a fair amount of Phoenix, but the play didn't look too good. I was watching these fights, and Battle God just missed like half of his spirits, which I think lost them some kills, which is bad. Especially with how long this game went and how close they were to winning. I feel like every kill they missed early game, because like for whatever reason, because Battle God's missing spirits, or someone else missed a spell, or because they picked a pause for Alchemist. Like all those just feel really bad when you look back, even if at the time they don't feel like much. So yeah, I don't know. The Phoenix is very poor. Didn't seem to use their abilities fantastic. So I like this pick in theory. It's nice, I think, in retaliation to these heroes. They're terrible at killing Egg. It's an unknown mid hero, and most mids I think don't want to play against the Phoenix. And it's pretty nice just to sit on top of the Mars ulti. Forces the Mars team to run away instead of fighting in the Mars ult like they want to. So I like the pick in theory, but I don't think Battle God played it fantastically. Yeah, I don't know. It's honestly a pretty good showing from Luth. The fact the game went forever and they lost kind of sucks, but that's just gonna happen sometime. Like you just have to clean up your play a little bit. It's really hard to give like real advice, I think, if you're like the coach for this team, because it's like, I don't know, just don't go late. Just close out the game earlier. Like that's just what you got to focus on. Maybe sharpen up the item purchases a little bit. There's some weird shit here, I think. The early Aeon disc is weird. The Sange and Kaya is weird. The Heart's a little off, I think. The Lotus seems a little off as well. I don't know why you wouldn't get just like a 4-staff or a cheaper item on Oracle. I don't know. That's for their coach to cover, but it's a little weird to me. It's like an okay game from Cryptic's team, but definitely not a good showing. I think when you're losing this hard and you only come back like this late in the game, it's something's gone wrong. Like you can be happy you won, but I don't think you ever really feel happy about winning those games because it usually means that you fucked up a lot. And like no one feels happy. Let's be honest. Like Luth's team feel bad because they lost and they screwed up the high ground push, but Cryptic's team's also like, man, we probably should have lost that game. So everyone's sad except for those watching. Unless you watch the full thing, and then you're sad as well. So whatever. Those are those games. I still like Luth's team a lot. This is like a little iffy. I guess between like the weird picks and Battle God looking a little iffy on the Phoenix. Even Luth, I guess, maybe looking a little iffy. Like I still think Luth is gonna look iffy for the first week or two because he's rusty. And he did have a great early game, so I think I'll just leave him A tier for now. They're definitely a competitor for S tier though. Like, I think his team has the potential to be very good. And then Cryptic's team, yeah, I don't know, man. They had an okay showing, but like, they probably should have got 2-0'd. And like Cryptic in particular just doesn't look like he's having a great time. Lost the mid lane as DP to a hero that does literally nothing until it hits level 6. Oh, what was the specifics on this lane? Like 8 minutes in, this is like mostly gonna be pre-6. Yeah, Cryptic just lost the lane to a Visage. That's so bad. That's not good. That's not a good look. The carry was just like okay. Like not, you kind of got wrecked. Game 1 we'll ignore because they got vipered. That's unfair. But game 2, it's like, kind of late timings. They're against a pretty scary offlane, I guess. Like I like this offlane duo a lot, but I don't know. I think Cryptic's team's still a little lacking in cores. Do I really want to put him B tier though? Yeah, I do. What are they again? What is Cryptic's team? Oh right, they're the coach team. Oh, I made this a little longer. I think I originally did this for a smaller league I was playing in. But anyway, moving on. Let's get this done. Taking forever as per usual. Yumi versus Brent. Game 1. Alright, Yumi team. Incredibly strong. They did have Wasps though. I made the initial predictions based on Aleph. Looks like Brent actually won. Holy shit. Yo, Brent should have won this game. Like, I don't know what happened here, but I'm sure this had to have been a throw. They also let Yumi get TB, which is super questionable. Even if they had like okay heroes against it. Yumi's just such a wildly one-dimensional player. I don't know why you'd let him have TB. I guess we could briefly go over the draft. We get a Jakiro, good hero. Mirana, fine. Sand King, yeah, given you have a low Mars offlaner, I think a very good choice. A Juggernaut, which is always like, Juggle will do well against the Sand King compared to other melee heroes, especially if you have a bit of a MMR advantage, I guess. He did lose his lane, but at the same time, Sand King is like one of the very few offlaners that can just get out of spin, so it's fine. I mean, I'll look back at that 1 second. What was the results here? Looks like he did really well. 2-1. Sand King died twice. Got like no last hits. Jug got crazy last hits. I think the Jug pick here is like probably always going to be fine. They just ban the heroes they're scared of. Jug's like such an early pickable pause one. Can't complain. Good pick. AM maybe would have been like arguably better against Sand King, but then you've like early picked an AM and that's just a mistake. We see a Wyvern pick. I wonder if this is in like expectation of a TB. Like, did they intentionally give him the TB? It's kind of looking like it. We got the Shaker, the Pango, which is another hero that's good against TB, another TB counter, and then we get the TB. Like, they had to have seen this coming. This had to have been intentional. And it absolutely backfired. But did he get the rapier before or after they like won the fights? Looks like after. They just ended the game with the rapier. Just ran down mid, dude. Ugh. So yeah, this is a bit too ballsy, I think. Trying to bait Yumi into a TB pick like he would care about what heroes you have. Death Prophet, a generically okay hero, I guess. Can't really complain. Although they did lose lane to a Pango, which is interesting. What on earth is Waft's build? Where'd he go? He went Maelstrom? Maelstrom Blink? What? There's a boot somewhere here, I assume, right? It's like boots, bottle boots, Maelstrom Blink, Scotty? You're on some shit, dude. Why wouldn't you just go a Vessel? It's just better, right? Like, why is your Mirana getting Vessel at 46 minutes? Yeah, that's whack, man. If you want healing reduction, why would you go with Scotty? Like, I guess it makes you insanely tanky and like, oh, my swashbuckle slows, but that's definitely just some wafts memeing around shit and some wafts not taking things seriously, I think. Like, there's no way that's the best item. It's like the exact order. Did you have the Basher before then, at least? It's the wrong tab. What's this Pango doing? Maelstrom, he actually bought a Yule's at some point, but I guess he sold it. Did he like insta sell it? Or did he sell it later? Yule's Blink, Scotty Basher, Bissell, Glepner. Yeah, I know about that one, fam. That's a little whack. They almost won this game against Yumi TB, which is very impressive. That's a crazy good showing from the Brent team, honestly. And they are doing the Brent support, which I did say would be better, even if it's less fun. Pyro's a very good pause one. Looks like this guy got to play one of his best heroes, last picking it. Yeah, no. A bit of a throw and giving Yumi TB. Whatever. Assuming that other teams are just ban the TB and are aware that giving Yumi TB is a terrible idea. I don't think this will happen again. I think this is probably a little scary for Yumi's team. I thought this would be a pretty easy game for them, and they clearly struggled a lot. But game 2, I think they crush. Yeah, 32 to 10. Wild. Let's see how the draft went here. First pick an IO. Oh, this is where they went wrong, huh? Oh, why did they first pick an IO and then they pick a Grimstroke to go with it for some reason? Like they didn't even pick like a can you at least pick a Shaker here so you have like a bunch of stun to make up for the fact that you've picked an IO? I mean, is that too greedy? I don't know, something. Something. This is whack. They have Grimstroke IO Underlord. This is like not a real 3 through 5. This accomplishes nothing. All you can do here is walk down a lane. If that fails, you lose. They do this so many 8th pick jugs. 8th pick jug, last pick at TA against the OD. TA 1 lane as well. Let's see, we got 13-minute Deso, 16-minute Blink, 20-minute BKB. This is a stomp. This draft is whack. I think Brent's team might just suffer from like you joke about the whole he who idiots thing, but what's it, the IQ degen aura, whatever. But like, I don't know, man. There's so much strange stuff. If they're having fun, that's cool. But I don't think they're gonna win games if they can't control something ape. YOLOing an IO like this is so incredibly whack. I don't know. The Pango build is whack. The audacity to try and counter the Yumi TB is something. I don't know if that's whack or brave or what, but I don't know. It's kind of a mess. Yumi's team, despite the poor showing game 1, I think it's still very good. Lads having good games is a good sign. Hawks, very nice game on this Knicks. What happened game 1 exactly? How was Hawks looking game 1? Because Hawks is definitely a player to look out for here. To see how good. Hawks struggled a little bit. 28-minute blink. Oh, that's rough. But they were getting rolled. Looks like Lads had a good game. The fact that Lads is having good games is a very good sign. Even Spaz had a good game. Really, it's mostly Scroomlight that had a bad game this game. So, yeah, I'll still give Yumi the S tier. Celamene. And then this is Tree's personal harem, right? Yeah, okay. Brent, I don't know, man. It's a little all over the place. Who else is actually going to go in my C tier? The more I think about this, whatever. We'll figure that out later. Alright, moving on. Yop versus Nick. Oh, that's right. I remember now. Yeah, so this was... I expected this to be a stomp. I thought Yop would definitely win, but I think it ended up being a pretty back and forth. Game 1, Nick actually is the lead for most of the game until they throw. So let's take a look at the drafts. We see a Shaman pick, fabulous. Could we talk about the bans? The bans are a little weird. There's like no meta picks on the bans. I'm gonna have to assume these are like crazy targeted, which I don't know the teams well enough to say whether it's good or bad. But Shaman pick, Clock pick, just immediate counter to the Shaman. Centaur pick. I really hate the Jakiro pickup. Like it's a fine support and all, but why aren't you just picking a core here? You could pick the Alchemist here. You could just pick this Jug that you've banned. Just seems like, and then we're last picking a Puck as well. All right, we'll get to that in a second. We're gonna see a Mars, which is a pretty good hero. Can't complain. It's Jackman Mars too. Love the Jackman Mars. Coddle pick, kind of weird, but whatever. Coddle's fine. Pretty nice timed Aghanim Scepter, I guess. I actually have no idea what his timing should be, but it's before the game ends, so whatever. The Alchemist, pretty scary hero right now. Kind of like a flavor of the month safe lane pick. Went Radiant instead of Battle Fury, which is not flavor of the month, but whatever. Slark pick for the guy from the Yop commercial. Do you play Slark, Mr. Yop? I think so. You play all the carries, right? Okay, maybe you don't. Well, yeah, your top 10's all 100 plus. How many games does he have on Slark? Okay, let's do this differently. Let's do this matches played. Slark, 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 Slark. 53 games? 45% win rate? Little sketch, to be honest. Little sketch. There's Monkey Kings in the pool. Why wouldn't you just pick a Monkey King? Is that like a good hero here? Am I wrong? This is a good Monkey King game, right? Especially with the Caudle? Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the Slark pick. I'm sure this is fine in theory, but like the dude doesn't play it. Does he just not play Monkey King? Why don't you play Monkey King like during this patch? Oh god, the Monkey King's even worse. Alright, y'all might have a small hero pool problem. There's like some random like Oracle Zeus. We don't care about these heroes. Sniper, I don't care about that. Luna, that hero's super bad. Oh, is this a Luna player? Oh no, he's a Luna player. Oh no, maybe I overestimated this team. Alright, well moving on. Necro followed by Puck. Alright, here's my thoughts. Your 8th picking a pause 5. Like these when your 2nd pick, your good draft slots are 8th and 24. These are like your OP slots. 8th you get like 3 counters in a pick, so you can just super secure your pick. And last is obviously Strong's his last pick. You've last picked a hero that other teams are first picking, because the hero is just generically good, and you've 8th picked a pause 5. This doesn't, like, I don't know. This is kind of whack. I think the draft probably worked out in the end. Kind of. The Alchemist is still fine, but it's kind of like bad practice, I think. Like, even if the draft worked out, it's kind of bad practice, I think, to do this shit. That's just my opinion anyway, Talk to your coach about it. They almost definitely know more than I do, but that's my thoughts. The Necro is obviously really good against the Alchemist, because of that Reaper's Scythe more than anything. Yeah, Drew Lane against Zach, we'll call him. Had a pretty good game on Eno. He went Radiance, which is sus, but whatever. How are the timings on Alk? Alk only had like 800 GPM, which seems kind of off. I feel like you should be able to farm fast than that on Alchemist. But overall it's a pretty close game. Jackman says he lost lane, probably did lose lane, but had a great game overall. 11, 2, and 13. Went big dick items, which is nice. Especially on this team, I think Jackman has the tendency to play around his cores, which isn't a bad thing necessarily. But on this team, you're gonna have to do a little bit of carrying. You're gonna have to balance it out. This is a pretty nice balanced build. We see the early blink to make space. We see the Vlads for the aura, but we also see a Deso in there, which is quite nice. I like to see that. Also BKB instead of a pipe, God bless. Pipe bad. Yeah, I don't know. This is an okay showing from Nick's team, I guess. Or maybe it's just a bad showing from Yop's team. It's hard to say. Uh, Nick never took high ground, I guess. That's probably where they threw the game in the end. Which is kind of weird, because they should have good high ground here. The Caudle's a problem, for sure, with the blasts. But all you really need is one glyph, and you can get up there. Like, if the Caudle walks up, you can maybe just jump him with Mars, if the Alk is just hitting the tower. I don't know. They had a really good start. I guess Alk's a little underfarmed. I kind of feel like they probably should have won this game. They just didn't. I don't really understand these early on disc pickups on these mids. Like, surely there's better items than a 30-minute Aeon disc. It won't even work against this guy, right? What's the Aeon disc for? Is it for Shaman? So if a Shaman gets you, you can get out with the dispel? Seems whack. Yeah, I don't know. It's an okay showing, I guess. Okay showing. We'll move on. Game 2, not so okay. We see once again the double support pickup, but this time they're first pick, so it's fine. Witch Doctor, Oracle, Rubik, Night Stalker. I think Night Stalker is a bit of a Bible Man special, right? Yep, they first banned it game 1, let him have it game 2. Looks like he had a pretty good game on it. Falcon Blade, Ags, going for a bit of a farmy build. Gonna see a Wraith King pickup followed by an Axe. I think Axe is honestly okay into Wraith King. Like, you jump him and you kill him with a Blade Mail and he comes back to life, which sucks, but I mean, you can eventually just do it again. He still kills himself on Blade Mail, usually. Especially if he's going for the early AC. But at the same time, it's not a great pick. I don't really love it. The Oracle's pretty nice against it. It's terrible in the Night Stalker, actually. Why did you pick this into Night Stalker? This is kind of strange. And, like, you have to get Blink, Blade Mail, and BKB in order to jump into the Silence, which sucks. Yeah, I don't like this pick, actually. I take it back. Bad pick. Oh, we see a Jakiro pick, which is kind of weird. I don't know why you'd have a pause 4 Oracle. But whatever. I guess they kind of have 2 pause 5s, so this is going to happen from time to time. Lycan pickup. It's kind of another cheesy pick. I like the cheesy picks with like the Alk and the Lycan. I think those are the kind of heroes Nick's going to want to go for with his core duo, but it just didn't really work out this game, I guess. Is that? I have no idea what time these are meant to be, honestly. Looks like an okay game, at least compared to the rest of his team. It's, yeah, I don't know. Just lost in the end. I think it's pretty good hero against Night Stalker Wraith King, but and Oracle, kind of bad against Shakiro. We then see this PL pick, which is a little weird. Looks like Nick had a really hard time to playing this one as well. And then we have an Ember for Eno, pretty good against PL. Kind of good against most of these heroes, really. I think it's like 50-50 versus Lycan. Kind of bad against Axe, but whatever. It's just a generic good hero. It's your like weakest core. Just pick them generic shit, I guess. He lost lane, which I guess is probably not surprising. You're not meant to win this lane as Ember, right? Like he just shits on you. What are the actual numbers here? 4.8k gold, 3.9, died to Lycan once, like I guess was in other lanes for these other deaths and kills. Had a pretty big CS lead on Eno. Maybe not the best last pick, but Eno's hero pool from mid I think is rather small, so it looks like it's fine. It worked out. This is what I really expected both games to be, honestly. Just like this mega stomp. This team is just on paper so much better than Nick's, but meh. Yeah, I'm not changing my opinion on Yelp, despite the fact they almost lost game 1. I think they're S tier for sure. Nick's team, I don't know. This is like Nick's team is definitely playing above what you think they would play. Oh, pardon me. The fact they almost won game 1 is quite nice. I think they played pretty well in the scrim I stood in for against them. I don't actually understand why Cats scrimmed their week 2 opponent, but whatever. But I don't know. It's still rough. I don't know if I could really say with confidence that they're better than these teams. Maybe equal to this one, where I think they have potential. But Nick's, I think, a little more reliant on, like, cheese picks, as opposed to, like, standard play. So yeah, whatever. We'll put them C tier. We'll stick to my guns. Maybe we'll change it next week if they do well. However, these two are going to play each other, and however that goes will probably determine where they end up. All right, last game. We're over an hour already. Nice. That's what we like to see. Oh, this is my game. Right. I don't know, dude. We just kind of won. Lena sent her combo early on. It's a pretty good combo. Can't complain too much. Yeah, man, Sand was banned out. How's his hero pool looking? Is he playing other heroes or is it still just endless Sand King? He's mixing it up a bit. Nice to see. Well, these are just supports. Maybe he's getting bored. We pick a Earth Spirit. We pick a Wraith King. Most teams were picking the Jug here. We did Wraith King. Is what it is. I think we just liked Wraith King more. I don't know. I'm hardly paying attention. PL ban, AM ban because the Wraith King, Tide, Death Prophet, Storm. Don't actually know why these are being banned. I guess DP is pretty annoying, Storm pretty annoying. I guess I've been playing these heroes so we could flex pick them or something. Maybe that's what they're scared of. I don't know. The Tide's a bit weird as well. Does Lava play Tide? He's an offlaner. Tide's not even in his top 10, so I don't really understand where that was coming from. We pick OD because I wanted to play OD. They pick Lich because Lich is a good hero. Then we pick Enigma because they don't really have great ways to cancel Black Hole. They have really bad ways to cancel Black Hole. They're all like short range. None of them pierce BKB when he eventually gets it. They pick a Spectre, which is weird. I was the first game I looked at, someone picked a Spectre, right? Was it Harb's team? I don't remember. I hate Spectre. The hero sucks. I like end of last year, the Lich Spectre lane was horrifying. You could literally first pick it. It was super scary. There was definitely a bit of an MMR difference that maybe contributed to this lane going so poorly for them, but I think part of it is that these heroes are just being nerfed over and over again. Like Spectre is being nerfed out of existence. Stero's win rates across what? It's winning in like super low MR now. Then it just falls off a cliff. Oh, it's actually kind of that might just be because it's picked so little though. It's only being picked in like perfect games. God, the ancient win rate sucks. What's the average of this league? It's probably like around legend, right? Especially if you consider that there's like some coaching going on, so some of like the basic thoughts might be there. This hero's probably always going to be good in like sub 2k solo queue pubs, but otherwise hero's dog. And then what else happened? They picked a Quap, we picked an Ember. Mid Drew, I don't know how that lane's meant to go. I think like Quap's probably meant to bully Ember, but at the same time, Chains kind of like kills you. I don't know. I don't understand how mid works. I had fun. I got to kill supports over and over again with a meteor hammer. Good times. Yep. Moving on. Oh, I guess I could quickly show the graph. I may have forgotten for some other games so far, but yeah, okay. Fairly straightforward. Didn't lose any T2s. Very stompy. Game 2 is more close, if I recall correctly. The graph is a little up and down. They still didn't take two tier 2s. I think all the fights we lost were on their side of the map. They definitely played the map like really badly. Like I think almost every single fight took place in like this jungle. Can you see my mouse actually? I think you can see my mouse. It took place in like their jungle, their non-triangle jungle, their safe lane jungle. I think that's what you call it. So if we won fights, we took towers. If they lost fights, or if they won fights, they did nothing. They lost their lanes really hard too, which is probably not great. What is it? 10 minutes, we have like a 1k lead. By 13, we're up to 3k almost. When do we hit 3k? Like 14. We threw a bit. This game was actually probably closer than it looks here. They very almost like ran down our off lane. They want to fight in their safe lane jungle because that's where all the fights were. And Roche was up, so they actually managed to go get Roche, which was pretty big. They had a Roche on JD. JD being a cuck again. Got rid of all his items, but it's alright. We can still look. JD was getting items. I think our ability to deal with PL was kind of poor. It was very early game focused, so once JD got online, I think we were in trouble. So I think he was around this stage. Oh, here's the Aegis actually, 28 minutes. It shows you it. But unfortunately, we engaged on them. Thrill House popped the Uber button. They were all ready to leave, and then JD accidentally phantom rushed out of the Uber ulti and into our team, and his team disappeared, and he was left 1v5, and we killed him twice, and we ran down top, and he was forced to buy back, and he died without getting a single auto attack off, and then they lost the game. I don't think it was super close, but it was definitely getting to that point. Like, I think we'd already taken a Rax by then, so we definitely had a very strong lead, but fights were getting very difficult, and once that PL was online, even if we had, like, mega creeped them, I think there was a chance we lost, to be honest. Because we didn't have great late game PL counters, in my opinion, but that didn't happen, so. Whatever. I guess we had a pretty good showing. Still F tier, though. The Princess team, I don't know, man. It was kind of weak. It kind of wasn't a great showing. The picks were a little weird. Like they YOLO picked a mag. I didn't go over this draft at all. I'm not going to. They like YOLO picked a mag. Their offlaner still, I think, doesn't quite know how to play enough heroes yet. They YOLO picked a JD Spectre game one. The drafts are kind of all over the place. Drafts are really easy to fix. I think that's always the nice thing about these leagues. You can always fix your drafts. They're usually pretty straightforward to clean up, but there might also be a hero pool problem, which is much harder to figure out. If there just isn't enough comfort heroes for you to pick heroes that are good, it's kind of rough. So I don't know. They're probably still fine. We'll just put them in our massive B tier, the final team to go in there. They're the Whittle Pog champs. There you go. All right, we got like a bell curve here, kind of. Really, more like a dong. Just a lot of people in the B tier. Um, yeah. Predictions. Shall we just go on to those? Barrel versus Yumi. Um, Barrel's team did okay. Barrel's team looked a lot better than I thought. Yumi's team looked a lot worse than I thought. If that being like, are they actually good though? Barrels versus Harb, who actually looks quite bad right now. I ended up moving them into C tier. I think Yumi probably still 2-0s this. Barrel can probably draft against him pretty well, which should definitely be an advantage. Yumi ended up getting that 2-0 versus Brent, I think largely because Brent let him get TB. Barrel will not make the same mistake, but Barrel's team also looks a lot weaker in terms of just raw gamer power than Brent's. So that's 2-0 from me. Yop. Maniac's team looked pretty good with Reedy. Like, Reedy looked really good both games, but Nomad, not very impressive. The Nomad Maniac lane seemed to do okay, but like Nomad was like a negative KD both games. Like, he's an offlaner, so it's not that big of a deal, but you'd really expect your like almost 4K player to be putting up better scores, especially on a hero like Bristleback, which is a real like snowball big dick hero. So and you know, mostly more than anything, Yop's team just looks absolutely insane. So we'll give him the 2-0 there. It's very possible this is a 1-1. I wouldn't be surprised by a 1-1, but meh. Cryptic versus Slizeey. This is my team. I guess I'll take this seriously because I'm doing this prediction comparison here, and I want to look good. So I won't just put myself as losing every week like I normally do. I don't know. Cryptic's team has a lot of MMR. They look kind of scary. Cryptic's mid looks really bad. So I think Snowstorm will have an easy time. Their off lane's kind of scary though, and our safe lane is definitely our weak point. I could put a 1-1 here. 1-1 was probably safe. I do just kind of want to big dick it and say that I'm going to 2-0 Cryptic though. That'd be kind of fun. All right, let's go. Big dick, big dick. 3. Whoops, not quite that bad. Luth versus Harb. I think it's just a 2-0. Harb's switching to safe lane, which could be a nice turn for them, but he has to deal with whatever bullshit Scrub and Fishay throw at him. I think Scrub is gonna be like the thing with Scrub is that he's a bit of an animal, and he's gonna do things like just pick me pause for Alk, and it's gonna backfire sometimes. But if he's against Harb, man, I think he's just gonna go super serious. Is he just gonna be like, give me this toxic hero that actually does something and ruin Harb's lane? And if Harb doesn't win his lane, like I don't know how his team wins, man. Unless they have like a miracle in the mid lane. It's gonna be like Supra versus Battle God. Yeah, I'd be really surprised if Harb takes a game off Luth's team. Like Luth is definitely one of my favorite teams. It's like almost S tier for me. I think if like Yumi I think and Luth could very possibly swap, but I don't know. It's a team that I have a lot of personal faith in, so that's how that's gonna be. Cats versus Nick. Uh these guys already scrimmed for some reason. I don't know why they scrimmed when they're playing against each other, but that's just how the cookie crumbled, I guess. I mean, Cats beat them in the scrim, but they also had like crazy high MR stand-ins. I think those stand-ins, being myself and Harb, kind of griefed a little bit. Like, I definitely didn't play very well. Harb was like just taking all the farm off the map with NP, which made it hard for Phantom to farm, I think. I think Cat's team looks okay. I think Nick's team could be very good. If they can keep the cheesy picks going. And Cat's drafting, isn't actually Cat's, it's Phantom, I guess. But the Cat's team drafting, he's kind of whack, I think. I think there's some things to work on there. Like their last week drafts, I think were just like game losing. Um, So I don't know. If it's gonna be down to drafts, I'm gonna go for a 1-1. I feel like Cat's team could be stronger because Nick just has to be like one of the weakest looking teams on paper, like no doubt. But Cat's team is a lot of work, so we'll see. Brent versus Princess. This is kind of an interesting one. Like Brent's team, especially with the Wafts. Wafts Evo is just like so much. Like those are just players that I think that are very good. Like they're very 8-brain, but I think Pyro and especially Wafts are just very good players. Like Wafts is super mechanically skilled if he wants to be, but he will just like pick a weird hero, go weird build, and then do things that I think he knows he shouldn't be doing and throw sometimes. Um, oops. So I don't know. The Princess team is, I guess, a little messy. I think the one thing going for I think when I played Princess, I think we played like pretty well strategically. Like I think we were in the right places and doing the right things for most of the game. I think Princess's team struggled to do the same thing in response. I don't think Princess will have that issue versus Brent's team because Brent's team is like completely psychotic, which gives them a bit of an advantage. I think I'll just go for a 1-1 here. I think it's possible Lost just goes ham and wins a game, and I think it's very likely they pick weird heroes and lose a game. But Princess, I could see either team 2-0ing really. I could see Princess 2-0ing here if they can just figure out like their basics, like basics how they want to draft, basics how they want to play around the map. I think this team is going to be quite good, and like God knows what Brent's going to do at any point in time. So yeah, it could go either way. I don't even necessarily think this is going to be a 1-1. I just think it's totally unpredictable. So all right, before I wrap up, I'll just briefly look at this thing. Um, if anyone else wants to get in, make a prediction this week before the games, and I'll add you to it, I guess. We'll see how people do. Maybe I'll get a collective how people did at the end of groups. I think it's going to be the plan. Adam Brent, newcomers didn't do it last week, are hopping on this week. Scrubs already did his, obviously just did mine. Hopefully all these guys, like we're going to have the pod going where they'll be predicting, and hopefully JD writes another blog. Last week, it was all over the place. We literally had every single possible outcome in terms of how many people predicted a series correctly. We had no one correctly predict Barrel versus Harb. Everyone correctly predicted Yop versus Nick, and then literally everything in between, which is very interesting. Week one's always a mess, but it's fun to see that there's a lot of different predictions going on. I think for the most part, there's a lot of diversity here. Yeah, there's only one game where everyone predicted the same thing. Even the game that no one got right, there was Princess being different with the 1-1. So, yeah, I don't know, kind of interesting. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll talk about it more next week if it's interesting and I spend less time on the actual games. But until then, see ya.